Hey.
They tell us that we don't matter, that our calls for justice and change are nothing more than dandelion seeds spread windward and vanishing into the world, doomed to do nothing of value and become nothing but waste. They tell you that you don't matter, that you are but a single snowflake hanging precarious in the air, ordinary in your singularity, unable to change anything on your own. Brother, sister, sibling, they are wrong. I have seen a single flake of snow break the crust of ice on a mountaintop, the final straw on the back of an overburdened beast cause cataclysm for the valley below. I know you are more powerful still. We used to know the value of a dandelion. Flower, stalk, root, and how they healed us when we were sick, and how the wine they made rouged our cheeks when we celebrated. We still hold this power for each other. Friends, family, community, walk together, hand in hand. Together, we can accomplish anything. Welcome, going out to all the upstarts, rabble-rousers, changemakers, and those who are just here for a revolution. You've tuned in to WNLR. Neon Lights Roleplay for the world premiere of The World Within You. Our bass-boosted, spray-paint splattered take on Voidheart Symphony by Minerva McJanda. For the next few hours, we will flip like shadows between the urban playgrounds and nightmare mindscapes contained within, well, any major city in North America. If you enjoy Persona, Psychonauts, or seeing the wicked bend before the uncompromising ideals of the young, superglue that dial right where it is. Before the main event, be aware that Voidheart Symphony and the story we are about to tell is one that meditates on the very real evils, great and small, that people subject each other to. While our players have safety tools in place and a mic in our booth, if you're catching our show across the airwaves, know ahead of time that we might touch on difficult topics. Listener discretion is advised. If you ever feel uncomfortable, you can cut away from the feed and jam to something that soothes your soul, and hopefully rejoin our renegades later. For this episode in specific, we may cover homophobia, houselessness, and other similar topics. I've prattled on for long enough at this point, and we have a digital studio absolutely bursting with talent. So let's start in that upper left-hand corner with Leona. Who are you? Tell us about yourself and introduce your character.
Oh goodness, I was not prepared for it to be me first. Hello.
Tell us your name and your playbook.
Hello, my name is Leona, and today I am playing a very special little character. Her name is Neela. She uses she, her pronouns or stars pronouns, and she is the provider playbook.
All right, let's bring it down one. Sushi or Michelle, tell us about yourself.
There we go. Microphone. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today I'll be playing Sushi, who is a cat. And as a cat, Sushi does not understand pronouns. So you can use whatever pronouns you want, but today Sushi's pronouns are they, them, so please respect that. But yeah, that's it for me.
All right, and I just realized we're going to be getting used to me DJing over here, so let me put on something a little more appropriate for the start of the show. All right, that's more like it. Let's keep moving. On over to Milan.
Hey, I'm Milan, and I'm going to be playing Jovan, or Joe, to everyone else. And I'm using the Heretic playbook. Joe's pronouns are they and them.
All right, and over to Landadan.
Oh god, oh shit, oh fuck. Hi. Oh wait, can we swear?
Yeah, we're good.
Alright. Hi, I'm Landadan, or Dan, I don't really have a preference. I'm playing Scott Reiser, and I'm using the Watcher playbook.
Hell yeah, and last but certainly not least, Tate, who are you?
I'm dying right now. Hi, my name is Tate Washburn, and I am playing Jordan Karsten, the Harlequin playbook.
All fucking righty. This is a really exciting start to the show. I, of course, am Legendary Vermin. I'm Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, but we'll go into that a little bit more later. Let's take ourselves in to the first scene of this show. So, the scene opens, and we are looking at not a city, but a tall, imposing castle. Kind of like one that you might see in a Disney movie or a fairy tale. And there are big, lush gardens all around this estate, but standing high up in one of the towers inside the castle walls, we can see a woman arrayed in feathers and silks standing looking out over the kingdom that she controls. However, there are rogues afoot, and we'll start with you, Tate. Tell us, what are you doing to get the drop on this strange sorceress?
All right, so this is like a castle tower.
Yeah.
Are there tapestries?
Oh, sure, yeah. Big, lush tapestries, all sorts.
So I think it's like a distant sound that very quickly becomes much louder of yeah, as he has grabbed one and is swinging down, holding from his left hand on his right, as he's wearing pretty like simple clothes, honestly, is this like metal twisted armband, and on his face is this like metallic mask that almost looks liquid and flowing. And yeah, he's just swinging right in with a cry and a charge. Just gonna try and get her in the side of the head before she has a chance to do anything about it.
All right. That kind of sounds like you are attempting to make like an initial attack of some kind. Can you roll pressure for me? And that'll be plus swords.
Yeah, it's not actually gonna do that, but we're gonna roll it. Did not. A weak hit.
A weak hit. Okay. On a 7 to 9, pick one. No matter what, she's going to retaliate. But tell me, do you expose an opening? Do you pin them in place? Or do you give an ally a window to act freely?
I think it's probably pin them in place. As the fist connects, this metal like armband thing actually quickly extends, and like it's a weak hit, so I imagine like goes right through like her dress but doesn't like get skin, but has pinned her whole outfit to the ground.
Yeah. So the dress gets pinned in place and you come tumbling onto the balcony of the tower.
And it is not graceful.
Yeah, just kind of slapping onto this big stone balcony. And I think...
Maybe haven't you ever heard of carpets? Ugh.
Goodness, the rabble in this place. Gods! And you hear the clanking of what must be foot soldiers coming up the tower from the inside. And in moments, you know that they're going to be surrounding you. However, you don't have time to think about that. We're cutting next over to our heretic. Joe, what's going on? What are you doing here?
Well, Joe's definitely thinking about the people coming up the stairs and doesn't want that to happen. What the heck just happened? I don't know. Doesn't want that to happen. So Joe goes over. I'm assuming they're coming up some kind of staircase. Joe right now looks. They have a long flowing scarf of red, but the end of it right now. It just looks a little like blackened and singed right where it flows. This thing is somehow billowing despite the lack of any air in the room, like moving and circulating. And otherwise, the rest of their clothes are like very like baggy and loose, almost like something you would see someone wear in a very hot area. And you swear when they speak or look or do things, like puffs of smoke just comes out of the sides of their mouth and their nostrils as they speak. And Joe just they go over to the staircase and they're just gonna like, is there like some kind of doorway to this thing?
Yeah, so the interior of the tower where you've snuck in, there's like a skylight up above. It's one of those conic towers on top, but it's basically like a big bed chamber with this really ornate bed, a door on one side. That's where you hear things coming up from, and then like large like rugs, a chaise longue, just because where else would a sorceress recline but a chaise longue? But yeah, a nice big ornate door with a wooden knocker that looks like a face.
I'm gonna grab, if I can, just one of these rugs off the floor and just toss it down the stairs with one hand, and with the other, from out of the pocket, it just like, almost as if it was being held in there, an arc of flame. I'm gonna try and set it on fire and make like it impossible for people to come up uninjured.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you also go ahead and roll pressure for me?
I will happily do that.
That is plus swords. While that roll's coming up, I forgot to go over this for you, Tate, but as you're confronting this sorceress, you remember something. Every single one of you has a question that you answered earlier about the vassal. Could you read off your question and what the answer to it was?
Yeah, so what did the vassal do that you just can't laugh off? And at like a school party, like whatever the most recent dance was.
We'll say it was homecoming.
What it was. Sure.
Yeah.
Jordan does not have a date for that, and he barely showed up. But she outed somebody, like a kid. And Jordan tried really hard to like deflect the accusation as like, yeah, you know, we're just a good friend. You can't be a good friend with someone without someone making some thing about it being gay, old people and all that, and it didn't work.
Yeah, and she really she was talking to their parent actually, and she really doubled down and was like, no, and looked the parent in the eye and said, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud that you're open and accepting of your kid. You, on the other hand, knew that would not be the case.
Uh-huh.
All right, Milan, how'd that roll go?
I got a weak hit.
A weak hit? Okay. So, they have an opening on you. These guards coming up the stairs, you've left yourself open, but tell me, do you want to expose an opening on them, pin them in place, or give an ally a window to act freely?
Oh, easily I'm pinning them in place. I'm like standing, just like directing all of their attention to me while the rest of them are taking care of everything that's going on in the room itself.
Awesome. What they're going to start doing, like you knock a bunch of these minions back and down, and it's that very like, you know the cards from Alice in Wonderland? They kind of have that shape to them. They all start falling down the center of this tower because of course it's a fantasy tower, and clanging, but the ones further back, all draw out these crossbows and start aiming them up at you. Silhouetted in that door. Next up, I believe, is Sushi. Sushi. There's an opening, the guards are pinned down on the stairs. The sorceress is pinned in place on her balcony. What do you do as you leap into this scene? Also, what does it mean to be an inhuman? Tell us a little bit about that as you go.
So the inhuman is, well, they're not human, but Sushi used to be just a regular feral cat who just, wandered around the city, just doing their own thing. Also, like, walking into the various high school, like, probably getting pictures snapped of them and then running away. But one day they just got, well, I don't know how to describe it, like human-like sort of, not even human-like, it's just sort of more thoughts, more feelings about things beyond this is my territory, this is my person, or my people, I need food. And actually started paying attention to the stress levels of people around them. And
Okay.
yeah. And as they're running sort of like down from this tower, you can see it looks like a regular house cat. But on second glance, you see the face is painted sort of like a paint palette. Their tail has a bit of like a little white tuft at the end. But perhaps what the most precious thing and standout thing on them, besides, well, their frankly weird looking ears, they look kind of stiff, a little bit maybe metallic, is a collar with a very large sort of radio dial on it. And this was a gift from Neela, who you're gonna meet later. But as they run in, they see sort of like the predicament that both of these strange humans that their friend Neela is friendly with, and they see this weird sort of furless cat that's covered in feathers, and immediately goes and starts to like just runs towards the feathers and starts trying to like claw at them to get them to like sort of trip this weird furless cat over. Do you mind if I try to like line it up for Neela, who's coming up next?
That makes perfect sense to me. That's what I was going to suggest. Roll with coins.
All right. Do a regular roll. Oh, we miss.
Okay, so you get up onto this sorceress and kind of underestimate her in the process. She's got these like long flowing locks of hair and a small kind of knife on her belt. And in less than a second, you see that like as you're clawing up her, where your claws sink in, she kind of laughs, grips the handle of the knife, and then draws more blood out, creating a wall that pushes you back, running into Joe. You're thrown across the room and kind of hanging on to Joe's back. You are subject to the same possible consequences of those crossbowmen that are on the stairs coming up. All right. That said, what is your question? Because your question's... oh, wait. Milan, I forgot to do your question. Joe, what do you remember as this is happening about this vassal?
This vassal has some weird insight, and specifically for Joe, I realized the vassal had supernatural power when they had answers to questions they could not have answered, specifically about me, specifically about Jovan's life as well.
Yeah, what set a micro scene for us. What does the flashback look like?
This probably happens one of the few days that Joe actually goes to school. And it's like some offhand comment, like they're just in like some conversation that Jovan's trying to get out of, and they just make some weird reference to their home life, specifically about where they're living, and it is not a public information at all.
Yeah, one of those moments of like, oh, sweetie, it must be so hard for you, but there's absolutely no empathy in what was just said. All right. Sushi, we're going to bounce to your question really quick, just so that I keep us on track and don't forget that. What is your question for the group? And what's your answer?
Yeah, so I guess the question for the group is, how did the rebels catch, well, Sushi's attention? And this one's a little bit weird. So Sushi's been, this whole city is Sushi's territory. Like, Sushi is queen of this city. And they've just been noticing a general uptick in stress in the area. This just overall less contentment, especially like because people who are used to be like Sushi, you could like walk down a street and people just hand out like snacks for Sushi, and Sushi would be well fed for like the entire month. And nowadays, like Sushi can't even get a nap without somebody trying to like kick them over. But how the rebels caught Sushi's attention was that Sushi's been visiting Neela's territory. Well, Neela's house. That's what it's called. It's called a house, not a den, not territory. But Neela has basically been
visiting my litter box.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Neela has been like sort of like the person that they know they can always go to for, you know, to beg for scraps or beg for food or just, you know, hang out, right? Take a nap. And it was at this one point where they were just following Neela from a distance behind to this strange acrid smelling den place thing where a lot of people were there, I guess. And they saw Neela comforting someone and just sort of like decided to offer their assistance. And that's how Sushi sort of came into the group.
Okay, yeah, and you started spending more and more time with them, I imagine. Cool. Speaking of Neela, there is a whole situation happening on the staircase. There's a pinned down, but still very dangerous sorceress. What are you doing?
Because I am the provider playbook, I think Neela's biggest thing is to try and help her teammates out, and if people are pinned down on the staircase, I think her gut instinct is to dive into the fray and to try and help resolve that situation. She has Neela in general can be seen wearing a very signature purple jacket, and I'm just gonna hold up this so that you can see, because this is the signature part of it. But all of a sudden there's a glaive in her hands, and she just runs at the situation. Like, she is just going to run at this, like, whatever's going on with this glaive and take matters into her own hands to help her friends out.
Okay, so are you trying to like protect the two friends on the stairs, or are you involving yourself with the sorceress? There we go. I'm thinking queen, but that's
no, I'm trying to I'm almost like trying to like so we're caught on the stairs because there's what again, sorry?
There's a group of soldiers moving up the stairs,
right,
and they have crossbowmen trained on your two friends.
Right. Is it possible for me to like almost sneak in and attack them from behind? Like, I'm trying to protect my friends by becoming a different attack point.
Yeah, that sounds great. This sounds like a stand with me. So yeah. You're charging up the bottom of the tower, basically causing confusion and forcing those crossbowmen who thought they were safe to reconsider their standing?
Yes, I have a sharp pointy weapon and they better reconsider their standing.
Okay. Cool. Go ahead and roll me cups.
Roll with cups.
By the way, if you've noticed on the right-hand side of our screen, we have a delightful setup for our rolls. All of that was converted and built out by Michelle. Michelle, without her work, none of that would have been happening, and this game would have been much, much harder to play. So,
handcrafted.
Handcrafted, molded from the clay of zeros and ones.
Thank you, Michelle. And I got a weak hit. It's an 8.
Okay, so you have basically you fight your way up those stairs, glaive in hand, and those archers no longer have their crossbows directly pointed at your friends. They're free now to act as they see fit. You're separated from your friends, though, so if you want to get up to the tower and help them out up there, you're gonna have to find a way through these crossbowmen.
Got it.
All right, and last, but certainly not least... Oh, wait, no, before we move on...
Nope. Wait,
Let's
we
do
have
our
a
flashback.
Let's do
what was
our
your-
flashback.
Yeah, what was your question, Neela, and what is your answer?
Yes. My question was, who did the vassal hurt, and how did you comfort them? The vassal hurt a queer student who was living in a conservative home and outed them by spreading rumors. I comforted them by taking them into my home for a little bit to help them get back on their feet. And the NPC's name, just in case it hasn't mentioned yet, is Tegan Seeley.
Tegan Seeley. Yes. Yeah, and you helped out Tegan Seeley. Was Tegan Seeley who you were comforting when Sushi first showed up?
I think so. I think I had brought Tegan over to my place, and I was comforting them, and that's when all hell. Well, when Sushi kind of walked in, probably through the window, and went, "Oh, who's this?"
Yeah, just walked in like they own the place.
Because they do.
I mean, cats.
Cats.
Okay, with that memory flashing and your conviction renewed, last, certainly not least, our watcher, Scott Reiser. Tell us what Scott Reiser looks like and what he is doing in this situation.
All right. Well, while they are preoccupied with the crossbowmen, and after this big fire that Joe has kindly made, how did you describe the sorceress's dress again, by the way?
Imagine like a cross between Maleficent and Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. There's like feather boas. It's like drapey and dressy and very sorceress magician looking.
Okay. So
We're focusing on black and purple colors, but yeah. As it happens, highly combustible, but, you know.
well, funny you say that, because Scott was wondering about that himself, and so while the rest of them are preoccupied with the crossbowmen, you see a group of what look to be paper birds fly out from a shadow in the corner and through the fire and go straight towards every decorative element on the sorceress's dress in an attempt to see if she just so happens to be vulnerable to fire.
All right. That sounds like you're trying to locate a weak spot, so let's line it up with plus coins.
Oops. Roll 20. That's a 9.
Hell yeah, that's a hit. So, on a 7 to 9, please pick 2.
All right.
You find an opening, please say where it's coming from. The environment, a flaw in their armor, some mistake they're making in their fighting style. What's the issue that you're going to be able to exploit?
As a flaw in their armor.
Okay, cool.
That can now be exploited by any of us. You know, just in case one of us happens to fire-based weaponry of some kind. Hint, hint. But yeah, I'll say that the paper birds probably tip them off to my location, so they'll send an attack my way, and I get fleeting disadvantage on strike.
Okay. So that means for any strike against this particular enemy, you are going to have fleeting disadvantage. She flings one of those blood walls at you. Please dodge for me.
Oh boy. I'm so...
You could, of course, take it on the chin if you would like, but it feels like a good moment to dodge.
Yeah, generally.
At dodging. Look how great I am at dodging with that roll.
Mias. Okay. I would like you to mark a condition, and I'm about to... oh boy. Can somebody read off the conditions for me? I have all of these very useful printouts right in front of me, but
Angry, callous, cowed, overwhelmed, and insecure.
okay. I think the wall is probably going to leave you overwhelmed for the moment. It is powerful magic, whatever she's doing, and she has like properly rebuffed you with it. So go ahead and mark overwhelmed as a condition. All right. Let's shift this fight into high gear. Okay, the floor is yours. We're all Oh, wait, one more thing. Of course, our watcher needs to tell us about. I shouldn't have changed the music. Watcher, tell us about your question and what the answer to it was.
All right. My question was, who is the vassal going after now? And my answer was, they're going after local bar owner, businessman, and overall pillar of the community, Danny Kerr, who happens to own the bar that Scott works at in real life, or part-time works at in the real world. And because he's used to hearing all kinds of people's troubles, I think Tegan might have gone to him for support at some point, and Vassal, not content with, not satisfied with what she'd done to Tegan thus far, is now trying to take him out of it too.
Yeah, I think specifically, you hear him being threatened by Dana as she threatens the bar itself. He can't do business in the area if he doesn't have a like place to rent, and she is essentially blackmailing him to try and get him to let go of the property. And now, the floor is yours. You have an opening on the Vassal. You have guards on the stairs. Players, this is yours. Show us what you're made of, and beat the crap out of this asshole.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that this vassal might have some susceptibility to a fire-based attack, so I'm happy to exploit that opening.
Yeah, I think you ought to go first then.
Yeah, Scott, how do you let Joe know that there's something fancy they can do?
I yell, "Hey guys, I have an idea." Oh man, I have to talk. I'm not great at talking.
I think you've done great so far. So yeah, you shout that. You see the pieces of the costume catching fire. Joe, what do you do?
The arc of flame in hand just gets fully pulled and straightened into a flaming spear, and I think Joe's just gonna charge and just try and spear this person.
That sounds like you are striking by taking an advantage of an opening. So specifically, that sounds like direct force. Do you feel like that's... Yeah, roll me swords.
All right. I think that's a weak hit.
Okay, on any hit, you're going to break one of the foe's qualities. There's not actually advice for how to do this in game, but I like the idea. Yeah, this is good. So you actually catch their armor and pin their hand with the dagger, shattering it, which makes them lose access to that blood magic that they were doing just a moment ago. However, every time you break a quality, something changes about the Vassal. And with this first quality broken, you see the Vassal kind of twist and move in an unusual way, and they transform, appropriately, into a dragon. And leap out of the balcony and start crawling over the surface of the castle outside.
And I think on a 7 to 9, I also pick 1.
Yeah.
I imagine they'd probably single me out after an attack like that.
Cool. So what the vassal is going to do is scoop you up, and like put you on, like you manage to wrestle your way out of their grip, but you are up on an exposed turret, slightly separated from the rest of the group. What do y'all do?
I think I could do a thing. I would love to. I think Justin like reaches his hand out, and this quicksilver blade that was stuck in the floor, like turns to liquid and like slithers to him very quickly, in one motion. And I'm gonna like kind of run at the dragon, but instead of like attacking it, I want to sort of like jump to the side, hook its leg, and just try and sweep around it and see if there's any like weaknesses in the scales or something. Like try and identify that next point of attack now that it's probably very fireproof.
Yeah.
And sort of acrobatics around this thing with this liquid blade just becoming hooks and handholds and things as I try and dance around. And I think the whole time is, I can't tell if you've gotten ugly or not. And it's honestly about the same, like taunting the whole time, just because that's Justin's mouth autopilots when he does stuff like this. I think he's discovering for the first time.
Yeah. As you kind of Spider-Man your weapon shifting into different forms, just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this dragon as you scramble across rooftops and the buttresses.
Have you tried Tums?
There are like gouts of fire coming after you. That sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, like you're trying to line it up.
Yeah, it seemed like a very effective thing that happened previously, so I'm learning from my teammates. A weak hit.
A weak hit. So you are going to create an opening. Tell me where it's coming from.
I think in very classic dragon fashion, just because this is a very fantasy world, there is a small patch of obviously like rotted and fallen away scales that are very clearly a weak spot. I think probably just like under like the left front armpit.
Yeah, there's an old wound there. Yeah, and
near the heart.
Specifically,
it turns out.
Huh?
Oh. Near the heart, it turns out.
Near the heart, it turns out. Yeah, you kind of get this flashback to a moment when y'all were exploring the castle when you first arrived, and you can remember specifically finding a journal that detailed some of the life of this sorceress, but you could also kind of read through it and see that there were people and things that Dana in real life wanted and desired that couldn't come to fruition. She has a devoted loyalty to somebody that she calls in this realm the king. And the wound by her heart is a result of that. So, as you see this old wound, how do you call it out to your allies?
Y'all ever read The Hobbit? Front left armpit. Please understand the reference.
Which characters have read The Hobbit?
Mila has not read The Hobbit.
Maybe watched it? The movies aren't that inaccurate.
I watched it.
I think in line with the fact that I got a mid-roll, I think that's a moment where he just stops for a second and goes, well, then I don't have to, and the foe's definitely gonna send an attack my way and seize me. Like, I've not been subtle about this.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so you now have fleeting disadvantage on strike, and what the dragon actually does is you've been dodging these gouts of flame, and instead of sticking with that, she scoops up a ball of minions and just hooks them at you. Spear points going all over the place, metal clanking like these fictional psychic guards screaming. So you're gonna have to get out of the way of that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try and dodge that. I think the goal is effectively like leans forward, the sword turns into like a spiral, and then he's gonna try and pogo stick his whole body up using the sword up and out of the way. We'll see how well that works. Because Justin hasn't done this before, and he's still convinced this is all a dream. So I was like, that should work, right? A strong hit.
Oh, fuck yeah. So, when you avoid incoming danger and get a strong hit, pick one. You're going to be separated. You may stumble, gaining fleeting disadvantage, or you leave something valuable behind.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that he leaves his sword behind. Like, the force of the spring, the sword like spins in midair. Justin is launched into like another tapestry, and then the sword gets pancaked by this ball of minions and is like lost in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there, but like hell, you're gonna go in and find it right this second. Cool. You all have an opening on the dragon, and they're let's check in with the folks who are still on the stairs. What's going on with the two of you? What are y'all up to?
Oh, I was just thinking like, you know, like a Sailor Senshi type moment, except it's with a glaive, and the glaive just turns into like a little tornado.
Oh,
like just a spinny tornado of glaive, so that I can like, I don't know, knock out, maybe apply pressure to all of these foes that are surrounding me because I got bigger shit to deal with. So does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. That sounds like pressure to me. Yeah.
It sure does sound like pressure.
Roll me some swords.
All right. Oh no, I'm not good at that. Fingers crossed.
I believe in you.
No.
That is a miss. I forgot that I'm bad at that. Could have been worse.
You go to pressure them, but all of the archers, now that they don't have two people at the top of the stairs anymore, they realize they need to get to the ramparts, and you are directly in your way. So all of those crossbows are now pointed at you and showering down their bolts.
So less tornado, more like tornado of trying to deflect arrows.
That's what it turns into very, very quickly. I think I would like you to take Cowed as a condition.
Got it.
All right, Sushi, what's up with you?
So Sushi sees this happening to Neela, and immediately, like, sort of like, you can see like their whole like body bristling, their tail just starts lashing, and they just leap off the top of the stairs. You see them like sort of like pat at the dial on their around their neck, and then their ears like just sort of like swivel across, and then you hear like a big as an echo of like the speaker's beats just beam down towards like the just these card soldiers, and you can just like hear above you, Neela, "Not my human!"
Wait, can I understand that?
So is
The
this
cat's talking?
Yeah, I think that we're gonna use Persona 5 rules, which is the first time y'all ever heard Sushi talk was the first time that you came into the castle shard. But now any of you can understand Sushi talking at any time.
Amazing.
Sushi, it's up to you whether or not this is the first time you've tried talking.
I think this is you know what? Let's do this. This is the first time Sushi's actually tried talking to anyone. Like, normally they just go like, "All right, They're idiots, but they could understand regular, like the regular cat language, right? Right? They're just furless cats, right?
I love
Yeah.
Sushi so much.
Yeah, so Sushi shouts at these guards. I'm on the fence about what exactly is happening here. Sushi, would you say that you're pressuring the guards or that you're bolstering your ally?
I think Sushi's intent is to like get Neela out of this situation. So bolstering
Yeah,
an
that
ally?
sounds like stand with me. So roll with cups.
All right, let's roll this. 8.
Okay, that's a weak hit. So you are no longer exposed, Leona. You have time to make a dash away. What do you two do in the aftermath of this sonic blast? Where do you go?
There is a dragon up here. I'm just saying.
There is a dragon.
It's like,
Sushi. Sushi, if you consent, maybe you're right with Neela just like scooping you up onto her shoulder so that the two of us can like make a dash for it.
It's like, I will permit it.
Oh, that's right. I can talk to you now. I don't understand that, but that's amazing. All right, let's go.
Kitty. Yeah, so y'all burst out the top of the tower. Y'all have a vantage point on the battlefield. Who would like to take it from here?
Just let it go.
That looks like a dam.
Go, Scott.
All right. So, Scott has not seen The Hobbit, but he's gathered the gist of what Jordan was trying to tell everyone. So he sent out on the tower, facing them. Scott sends his birds after the spot that Jordan pointed out, and just tries to do a pinpoint strike and just really just worm them in there under the scales and into and just do everything he can to just throw everything he can at that one spot.
Awesome.
Guess that
So-
would be
That sounds like a strike. I believe you still have disadvantage on your strike from your line it up roll earlier. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. How are you trying to strike? Is this your precise insight? Is this stealth and guile, or is this direct force, would you say?
I'd say it's more of a precise insight.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll with disadvantage plus coins.
This is-
Also, I love the imagery of you said they were paper birds.
Yeah.
Flapping around this huge dragon. You know how birds in flocks will do that kind of cloud thing? I imagine it's that weird kind of fluid motion as it harangues this dragon.
Disadvantage. Hey, I still got a hit. Weak hit, but a hit. Weak hit.
A weak hit
Hey.
is still a hit. So, you are going to remove this opening, and I think what happens here is you hadn't seen it yet, but this dragon was able to dip through shadows and pop up in different places. It tries to dive into a shadow away from your birds, but they pick away at its scales, and they come off with this this one specific scale that has a little rune on it, and your birds throw it into the air and tear it apart.
Damn.
There is a cloud of magical dust that explodes. However, the dragon kind of points its finger at you before the scale is completely burst, and blinds you. There's dust and smoke in your eyes, and you are vulnerable now because of that. So I need you to pick. Do they lash out, single you out now, or reshape the arena?
I like the idea of, since they're trying to escape, they reshape the arena somehow.
Okay. What happens in this moment is the castle kind of folds itself like a pop-up book across 3 dimensions, and now instead of being in a castle, things collapse and twist, and suddenly you're in a forest that has a little hut at the center of it. All of you are kind of arrayed around this hut, but you can no longer see the dragon. You have a feeling you know where it is. Well, I said none of you can see the dragon. Scott, you especially can't see the dragon, so you just feel everything shift. But now there's this hut with warm light coming out of it.
I think I got her. I hate for this to drag on.
Oh,
I'm the jokester. Don't be taking my bet.
Pat.
But also,
All right. You're outside this hut. There's only one quality left on this vassal. What do you do?
do I see the pile of guards and can I get my sword back?
The pile of guards has kind of disappeared. If you want to take time looking for your sword, I think it just means that you're going to spend your time doing that, and other people will get to act before you.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I like to imagine that it's like stuck inside a tree, and it's like, how do I get it out? Like, not like sticking out, like stuck inside.
It's
I
like
can hear it rattling around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I can't. Anyway.
As you touch it, it's like paper. It's like a pop-up book, and you pull on branches, and then like other things kind of pop out in different ways, and it's like, oh god, this is a paper puzzle box.
I fold it.
I love that. I think Mila kind of calls out and goes, "So do we knock?"
Nah, and I'm gonna try and kick the door down.
Nah,
Why not?
I love
Just
that.
go in. Be a good vehicle. You're a good human.
You.
I'm a vehicle?
How do you cruise up to this door? What does that look like?
I think finally not being alone on a long tower, like way high up with no staircase. Jovan just has like a lot of like energy, so they just literally like run up and just jump and drop kick the door open if they can.
Very effective way of kicking open doors. It works. Yeah, you like drag and kick this door open. You land on your feet, surprising yourself. In the center of this room, kind of near a bubbling cauldron, you can see the dragon. It's smaller now. It looks more lizard-like than dragon-like. But all of those card knights are still here. They're just card-sized now. And they are huddling and scuttling across the floor like a sea of card-shaped insects. Be gone! I'm only doing what he wanted. Can't you see this is for the good of our kingdom?
Last I check, people get a say in what happens to them most of the time, so I'm not going anywhere.
And the dragon is going to send a horde of minions to like cover you, basically. They all, it's like thousands of paper cuts as they kind of surge up onto you.
I attempt to dodge?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. That is a strong hit.
That is a strong hit. Okay. So, on a strong hit, you pick one. you're going to be separated, stumble, or leave something valuable behind.
I think it makes the most sense to be stumbling as I am fighting off like 7 decks worth of sentient cards in the corner.
Yeah. So the minions kind of swarm onto you. You're pulling them off left and right. The kind of fiery spear that you had is able to like morph shape and burn them in turn. What are the rest of you doing as that happens?
Well, Scott is trying to clear his eyes probably so he can get back in the fight. I don't know if there's a way for that.
I would say. Gotta look at my exploration moves just to make sure there's not. There is a move called See Clear that I'm really tempted to. Okay, find shelter. Yeah, you should probably find shelter during this fight. So, roll plus wands. You just need to be out of the way for a moment so that you can clear whatever this is.
I think that's my worst stat.
If people want to help Scott with that, that is a possibility.
I can definitely help.
I'd appreciate that.
I feel like Sushi and I can split up, and I can.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna let you roll that with advantage then.
Okay.
As Neela comes over, what do you do to help Neela?
Can I tell what's kind of going on with his vision at all?
Yeah, you can absolutely see. There is like a shadow. You know, like the dust mites from Totoro? The soot sprites. It looks like those, but like teeny tiny, just kind of like clustering and wiggling all around.
Ooh. I will use my hand to like try and like almost like brush them away.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and find shelter then, Scott.
Okay. Hey, weak hit. I'll take it.
Okay, and a weak hit. Okay. I'm going to say that this is going to eat up some time, and I'm going to introduce a new danger clock. For those of you who are familiar with how clocks work, they are segmented countdown timers. And as this is going on, you kind of hear the bubbling inside this hut getting louder, like there's whispers coming out of the cauldron. So I'm taking one segment on the clock rather than going with the usual consequences for this move. This has eaten up some time, and when that clock hits 6, we will see what happens with the bubbling cauldron. All right. What do? There's a bubbling cauldron. You've got clear vision on your friend. I feel like this is Sushi's go at this point.
Hey.
Sushi is currently like, you can see like sort of like their head like twitching, their ears are like they're just patting their ears because like there's all of those tiny things that are little card things running around look kind of like cockroaches and they're very distracting, but at the same time, lizard. There's a lizard. Cockroach, lizard,
Big lizard.
And I think what Sushi does is they get very distracted by this because to them, right, like the cockroaches are moving really fast and they're like, ooh, okay, have to pounce, and they just pounce right into the middle of the group, probably like maybe they hit the cauldron. I don't know if they're gonna actually like do that, but they're gonna go straight for like the biggest concentration of the card things and just like swipe at them because they're just so interesting.
Okay, that sounds to me like you're pressuring the card minions.
Oh, this is my worst stat. We'll see what happens. Oh, we hit!
Hey, you did it.
We hit. Love that. All right, so the cards have an opening on you. And then pick one. You expose an opening on the cards, you pin them in place, preventing them from moving, or you give an ally a window to act freely. I'm going to say that second one actually doesn't make sense, because this place is teeming with them. So you couldn't pin all the cards at once.
Yep.
I don't know, you're seeing cats chase a whole bunch of mice. But
You could, you know what? You could herd them if you wanted to. That makes sense.
I think it makes sense if Sushi, they pounce in the middle and then just start like as they bat, they start like chasing the whole lot around away from Joe, and this gives Joe and whoever's left like a sort of like a window to act freely while the cards are all distracted from getting chased by Sushi.
Yeah, okay, and so at this point, the small dragon is like scurrying around this hut, grabbing things off of the shelves and tossing them into the cauldron. So, what do you do?
I believe I am going last because Jordan finally gets, like, folds open the tree and like, aha, and has his sword and just full on runs into the room. And what I'd like to do is, like, the moment he gets in there, looks like he's swinging the sword wildly at just everything in the room, but what he's actually doing is looking right at this dragon, this lizard thing, and saying, what is it most worried about him hitting? Trying to figure out what...
Okay.
It's like a big brandishing thing, but it's like, like the way you might needle someone while insulting them, maybe, but physically. Like, what's gonna get you to... What bugs you?
Okay. So there is a there's like a snow globe on a shelf.
Huh.
Oh, wait, shit. Line it up first. Sorry.
That's fine.
You gotta earn this information.
Yeah. It's the thing.
Yeah, why is it... Oh, there it is. Hey, it's a weak hit.
Okay, yeah, so there's a snow globe over on a shelf. And what you see in it is actually a tiny version of the city that you're from. It is Etteridge, the coastal metropolis, but it's not exactly the way that you remember it. It's like someone else's dream of what the city could be. It's also... It doesn't have some of the things that are recent additions to the city, because, as you all know, Etteridge has been undergoing like crazy amounts of development. There are people moving into the old manufacturing sectors, moving into the docks where there used to be a lot of fishing, bulldozing the places where people used to have their like farms just outside of the city. And this image of it doesn't have any of those changes. It's like the 60s vision of what the city could be in 20 years. And you see down on the bottom, it's labeled our dream at the bottom of this snow globe. Of course, as soon as the dragon sees that you're interested in that, hisses and is going to come after you. You get to pick two.
Yeah, I think it's... well, actually, I think that maybe she doesn't do that, because I think it's going to be the opening only lasts a few moments, and the foe sees me. Because the moment she starts lunging for me, the sword goes right next to it, like I'll tip it over and be like, like, don't you dare! I'll make it.
So that I think the dragon is like reaching out for it and is in kind of like a standoff with you. You're both like very close to it, and this is going to tip one way or the other. Somebody needs to come in and do something about that snow globe.
I've just been released from the card hell.
Exactly. And I think we need to communicate that, like, she's not moving now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I
that
don't
deep
think
opening
there's
I'm giving.
any heat on Joe, so they just like they let go, and the whole gout of flame just goes back into the pocket, and they just like creep up, and they're gonna try and like how would they do this? I think they're just gonna sweep the leg of the lizard and try and grab the snow globe and crush it all in one motion.
That sounds like a little bit of stealth and guile.
I think so as well.
Go ahead and roll me a strike with wands. Did you have disadvantage on your strike, or was that somebody else?
No.
No, that was Tate. That was Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had disadvantage, and Tate had
land.
disadvantage from before.
Yeah, I think I was just prevented from acting for that time. Okay.
Go ahead.
That is a weak hit.
You know what? A weak hit's still a hit, baby.
I think we were also given +1s in the chat, though.
There's a bunch of +1s in the chat.
Let's choose.
Ooh.
I'd love to use one if the party's okay with that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that makes it a strong hit.
That does make it a strong hit. So yeah, you're not going to suffer any direct consequences for this. You tell me what this looks like.
Yeah.
Show me the moment of you going after this dragon's horde.
When the fire is released, Jovan almost like moves like a smoke cloud almost across the floor, completely silently. The leg sweep happens, and then with the like turning kind of like 30 to like a full 90 degrees, and then the other hand comes around and grabs the snow globe and just throws it against the wall.
Yes.
All in one spin.
That's great. The dragon falls, reaching out for the snow globe as it sails kind of like slow motion in our vision across the wall, shattering. And the dragon's scales dissolve back, and what we're left with is a woman, kind of probably in her 40s or 50s, in sort of, a really normal sweater, some mom jeans, in a big blank void. It could have been beautiful.
You know what they say. The best laid plans of lizards and dragons, I think. I haven't read that one.
You have an opportunity at this point to say something to this woman who is a bully, who's been causing a lot of harm to your friends, to your connections. What do you say to her as the power is like drained from her by your actions? What do you want her to carry back into the world?
I think A. Jordan wants to ask, well, beautiful for who? Not for Tegan.
It would have been, but well, we had a dream and then we had to start cutting corners, and one thing led to another, and where it started, it was so good, but we had to compromise so many. I wish we hadn't given up on the way we wanted things to be good for everyone. Anything else y'all want to say before this pop-up book finishes collapsing?
I will, but I don't want to take the spotlight too much.
I kind of,
The spotlight.
I kind of almost want to say to her, as you go back, think about how to actually make things beautiful for everyone. Not just for who you think is everyone, for everyone.
And as this shadowy version of Dana Carver starts to dissolve, she nods. And you find yourselves not back outside of the castle shard, but somewhere else entirely that we'll discover a little bit more about after this break. Spree, at your earliest convenience, take us on out. We'll be back very shortly.
See you soon.
Oh no.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the
yeah.
inaugural episode of Voidheart Symphony, our game of Voidheart Symphony, The World Within You. I want to take a quick second to promote something that is an important part of this game for me, and I think for everybody involved. Because this game takes place in a world very much like our own that deals with some very real world issues, one of the things that we want to do is take time to highlight ways that you can fight back against the castle that we all experience, the evils that people inflict on each other. And I want to start this session with a charity related to some of the things that we talked about early on. And that charity is Lambert House, or a charity in Seattle that specifically helps queer youth find and make connections and form their own queer community as teenagers. It's a really wonderful and important space for young people in my city to feel like themselves. Queer kids have much better outcomes long term if they can find other people who are like them. And this organization does a lot of work to make sure that kids are happy, safe, healthy, and homed. So this month we are in support of Lambert House in Seattle. And I hope if you have the time and money, you find opportunities to donate with the links that were just dropped into chat. Thanks so much. We will be doing rotating charities as we play this game, and every member of the cast is going to contribute as we move through this wonderful campaign. And with that, the lights open on what kind of look like a sort of strange little office. You hear and taste the sound of static in this place. It is a space between spaces, and there are little like desks and workstations, but also big couches and posters on the wall of bands and pieces of art that people have dug up and strewn around. It is the office space within a radio station. And you can hear, kind of underneath it all and off in another room, you can hear the thing that pushed you all into the castle. You can hear the voice of one of the DJs from KVHS, just barely, through some soundproofing. This place, those voices, urged you to fight back, taught you, without saying as much, how to open the door between the city and the castle. And now you find yourselves in this kind of mystical space. Starting with Sushi. I want you to tell me one item or object that would make you feel empowered, dangerous, or free.
That's an interesting one because Sushi is a cat, and like cats basically go wherever the heck they want. They're also plenty dangerous.
They're also very confident in themselves, so.
Yeah. I think for Sushi though, and I think we're gonna dial this back to that collar. Is so in the castle, it looks like a dial, right? But here in this in between world, it's sort of flickers in between like that sort of that dial, but also a nameplate, right? It's got Sushi's name, but it's also got Neela's address on it, and it's sort of like for Sushi that's sort of like a feeling of safety, right? Like that, like Sushi's always confident that like if they lose territory, right, or if they need anything, they can always just waltz right back into Neela's apartment, or den or territory, whatever the heck it's called, and they would be safe there.
Okay, so I'm gonna twist that a little bit. So the place where Neela lives is a little apartment building, and a thing kind of manifests in the back of the room, and it is one of those really fancy cat trees, but it's in the shape of that apartment. It's like a small version of that, all soft and cozy. It's got blankets in it, and that space is a way for you to get to Neela quickly. While we're there, everybody in this group has a unique connection to the other rebels, a major arcana, in fact. What is Sushi's major arcana?
Sushi's major arcana is the star.
Okay. Anything you want to say about Sushi being the star before we move on to the next person? Okay. Yeah. A sort of guiding light to others. Let's move on to Neela. What is something that would make you feel dangerous, empowered, or free?
That is, ugh. I'm open to suggestions because this is a hard question.
How do you feel about specifically kind of like a sailor senshi armor set?
Yeah, that would definitely make me feel both empowered and dangerous.
So there's like not like a mannequin in the corner. Well, yeah, it's a mannequin, and you see it kind of crystallize a set of pauldrons and a skirt around this mannequin, and you have access to it in the hideout, and you can take pieces that you need from it when you need to feel brave and ready.
Can I add a small detail to them?
Go ahead.
They're
yours.
These are in fact like a skirt and pauldron and armored pieces, but they are I think they're covered in sequins. Like they are covered in beautiful sequins and patterns and block prints and just all of these vibrant textures. They don't look like a regular set of armor. They look like vibrant pieces that just like seem to come to life. Like whichever one you pick, and it just kind of flows into something really unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Leona, what is your major arcana? What is Neela's major arcana?
Yeah. My major arcana is the gardener. And I don't know. I think Mila is still unpacking that a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and read, for the benefit of the audience, the entries for each of your arcanas I've decided.
Please.
So, to start with the gardener, since that's what we last mentioned, the gardener is nurturing, powerful, and abundant. At their best, the gardener gives others a supportive and nurturing environment that lets them grow into their true potential. At their worst, the gardener constructs stifling relationships, quashing potential so that it doesn't threaten their authority. The star is talented, generous, and mercurial. At their best, the star is a creative genius, their raw potential shining through their ever-improving art and bringing hope and life to those around them. At their worst, the star is naive and amateurish, unwilling to accept advice or instruction. Let's move on to Jordan. What does Jordan imagine that makes him feel empowered, dangerous, or free?
Jordan moved here very recently from Utah, and one of the weird quirks of Utah, the place I live now, is that it's like the place this side of the Mississippi in the U.S. for fencing, like Olympic fencing for no reason at all. And there's like a really simple set of like training equipment that you have in like a fencing place. It's like a rubber board that has 5 lights in it that are distance apart, and they when they light up, you're supposed to hit it, and it times how quick your reaction time is. And I think it just makes him feel good that he still can like kind of do that. Like he's moved to a new place where there's not like a charity like non-profit place for him to practice this. He doesn't have any of his own gear, and I think this one, just because it is a little more magic, is like ridiculously durable. Like he's not going to accidentally just stab through it with this Quicksilver sword.
Let's take it a step further. It looks like those ones that you were used to, but the target on it can slide kind of like a laser pointer that you would use for a cat.
Yeah. Sushi also enjoys this, I assume.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll compete for fastest reaction time.
And Jordan, what is your major arcana?
Yeah, mine is the Vagabond.
All right. The Vagabond is easygoing, indecisive, and self-sacrificing. At their best, the Vagabond is calm, collected, and observant. They never rush into things, but their perspective is often valuable. At their worst, the Vagabond is passive and apathetic, unwilling to risk the disruption action might bring. All right. Joe, what is something that would make you feel powerful, or empowered, dangerous, or free?
I think for Joe, it's really just that they are needed, really. When someone comes to them for help, that is the best time of the day for them, and even if they don't act like it. They like to be depended on, when they are depended on, they try their best, but it's not a rare occurrence. It's a kind of a rare occurrence.
There is a desk with Javan's name on it. And if you wiggle the mouse, only when you wiggle the mouse, there is kind of a scroll of an email. It doesn't look like any software program you've ever used before, but it lets you know when people need you. All right, and what is your major arcana?
I believe mine is the Magician.
The Magician. The Magician is skilled, creative, and hungry. At their best, the magician is inspiring, resourceful, and driven. At their worst, they're manipulative, egotistical, and power-hungry. All right. And Scott, what is something that makes you feel empowered, dangerous, or free?
For Scott, the most free he ever feels is when he is playing his guitar. Because when he plays, nothing else matters. Not school, not work, not money. It's just the music that is coming out of the instrument.
All right. And what is your major arcana?
Scott's major arcana is the sun.
Okay. As that a guitar manifests in this space, and it is an electric guitar with a little amplifier next to it, and it has kind of a sun motif all across it. The fretboard, everywhere where there's the little fret mark dots, those are in the shapes of little suns, and the sun is direct, insightful, and positive. At their best, the sun brings clarity and optimism to your life and clears out your doubts and uncertainties. At their worst, the sun is idealistic and uncompromising, showing an almost childlike stubbornness to deviate from their ideals. All right, you have arrived. The castle shard bending itself out of its pop-up book shape and into this lounge where there's a place for each of you. And you have a moment to kind of reflect on what y'all have just accomplished. The scene is yours.
Sushi walks up to Neela and just goes, "All right, pet me."
Oh, yes, of course. And then immediately Neela starts petting me. Still kind of a little confused. Like, this is still kind of surreal, but like, the cat is saying pet me. There's no way I'm not going to pet the cat. Just all the scritches behind the ears. Kushishi, kushishi.
I think arriving in this space, there's just a moment of like, oh, that tastes weird. Like, we can taste static. But then Sushi talks like, no, wait, hold on a minute. This has gone on a little too long to be a dream. This is not a dream? Is it a dream? I don't know why I'm asking you. If it is, then you're all figments of my imagination, but...
Nope, definitely real. Pinching my face feels real.
I don't think you could imagine me even in your dreams like this.
One of us could slap you and see and check.
You guys have different dreams than me. I've definitely been punched in my dreams. But... Oh, sorry. In character.
Sushi just like sort of walks regally over towards you and just attacks your ankles.
These look like nice boots. Please don't.
Oh yeah, are we
It's
in
weird
our castle gear?
Yeah, you're still in your kind of castle outfits, and there's actually a like wide mirror on one wall, where y'all can kind of like, it's like above a couch, so you can kind of check out your appearance. This may be the first time each of you is seeing a reflection of yourselves in the castle, in your castle forms.
This is a dream. I'm dressed a little tropily, but whatever.
Where did I learn to use a glaive? She's like looking at herself in the mirror, like realizes she's still holding something in her other hand. Like, huh?
Those birds, where were they coming from?
Thought they came from you.
In your kind of what sort of pants is Scott wearing? What does his castle form look like in terms of his like trousers and jackets and pockets?
So Scott is wearing a long black cloak, which sort of also looks like a PI jacket.
Okay. Yeah, like as you kind of like look at the space, you can see when you kind of pop it open, the cloak, unlike cloaks in real life, has like a hunter's pocket inside of it. And there's nothing in it when you reach in at first, but you think about the birds and you pull out a piece of paper and it folds itself into that shape, and kind of hops around on your hand.
Birdie.
Oh.
Well, I'm willing to suspend disbelief for a little bit, and either I'll wake up tomorrow, none of you in real life will remember this, the cat will stop talking, or we've done something?
Quite rude of you, you know?
If this is a dream, Jovan will pull out a cigarette and go for the lighter and just pull out like a fistful of fire. Oh. And just lights it. And just starts.
Have you ever watched Cowboy Bebop the movie? There's this one moment where somebody lights Spike's cigarette and it's just like a way bigger flame than is necessary. That's what I'm imagining there.
So where do you think this space is? Like, the castle made sense until it didn't when the picture booked up. But where do you think this is?
Castle made sense.
Well, it was a castle until it folded up like a book, and then I had to play origami with a tree. But where's this? And I'm gonna like look around. It's just an office. Is there like a door?
There's a door that above it has a sign that says "on air" and it's red. And you can hear voices from just on the other side of it, and
right now.
you can vaguely hear something along the lines. You hear like the words "snow" and "dandelion," but you can't really make anything else out. There is also a door on the other side of the room, and it says it has like the little exit man. Not exit man. It's an exit sign. So on one side you have this red glowing sign for on air. On the other side you have a green glowing sign for exit. And there is actually like a bank of windows where you could look out if anybody would care to do so.
I'll peek out the window. Why not? Let's go.
What you see is hard to put into words at first. There are shapes like trees, things like hills, but unlike a nighttime scene in the real world, there is everything just kind of suffused with this bright green or this rich, like lavender purple. The grass that is waving is this shade of lavender. There's a glow on these trees that are not trees, shining off of the radio's broadcast tower. All of it surreal and dreamlike. There are pieces of the ground that are kind of forming little balls and drifting up. Kind of like a water droplet that has hit the surface and then popped back off of it. But all of it happening kind of like slowly and gently.
Jordan's gonna lean over to Joe and be like, did you say you've done acid? Is this what acid is like?
Did you just assume that I've done every drug? Like,
look, you're the guy I know who smokes. That's all I have in this situation. I asked if you
drink
have.
alcohol and smoke cigarettes, and I've done weed like twice, but like that doesn't count. Basically, anyway.
I appreciate the teenagerly phrasing of "done weed."
Exactly one weed, please. Yeah, Justin will like sort of point to the exit door, and when he does, like the bracelet sword sort of points where his finger is a little bit. He's like, we could leave, but, and then points the other way. I would like answers, personally, as to how we fought a witch in a picture book. I don't know about you guys. So
sure,
I'm gonna
if
wait.
we wait long enough, whatever that is probably gonna end. So, and I'm just gonna go find a corner and just sit in it. just hang out.
As a question, GM,
Yeah.
does Sushi recognize the voice on the other side of that door?
Oh yeah.
All right. Sushi like just sort of like lashes their tail against Jordan's leg and goes, and basically like walks towards, like pads towards the couch, and just, like with like follow me sort of like get gestures, like I'll introduce you.
Oh,
Wait here.
well, you have the ant. All right. The cat is in charge.
You've been here before, Sushi?
Well, of course.
Sushi, I think
Okay.
you've been here before, but this is not normally where you meet Vanda. This is like, this space like has more touches of the kids than it does of any of the DJs.
Mm.
It's
Although
almost
it
as
seems
if this
very
space kind of like rose to meet them.
Hmm.
And you.
Although it feels very cat-like to say yes, even if you haven't been in this space before.
That's true.
Cats know everything, don't you know?
Yeah.
Gets it.
At that moment, the like on-air sign shuts off. You hear a door open and close beyond, and then another door open, and there, standing in the doorway, is someone that Sushi knows. Sushi, what does Vanda Sky look like?
Vanda Sky is, I think the first thing that you sort of notice is that they have incredibly sort of like wild hair. It's probably been done in a couple of different styles, very freeform, but they also just have the most laid back, like chill posture that you like. They sort of like lazily sort of like almost glide their way
Yeah.
through the door, right?
Like a boat rocking in open water.
Yeah. You can see like probably like they've got like I'm imagining, correct me if you got something, a different idea, but I'm imagining sort of like this like almost tie-dye sort of like really like mellow cool colors hair, right? And Vandy is, well, Sushi doesn't understand gender, so they're just going to assume that like Vandy is something. They're like, all right, Vandy is another furless cat.
Yeah,
Basically,
Vandy is
like-
certainly something.
It's certainly something. But like they're wearing some sort of like, you know, once again like very cool colors. Just like the most like sort of like a slouch to their posture, and just upon seeing Vandy, you can see Sushi just sort of like relax a little bit. Like almost as if like they're filling like the air with sort of like this ambiance of just chill.
Yeah. Oh, hey! Didn't hear you come in. I was wondering when you'd come this way, Sushi. And like leans down and produces a treat seemingly out of nowhere.
Hold on, you know the cat?
Of course, I know all the cats.
Right into that one.
I'm Vandy. And you all have made it here, so I must be talking to some real rabble-rousers.
What
Yeah,
is-
it's interesting you say you didn't hear us come in because we didn't see ourselves come in. Hi, I'm confused.
Well, don't you worry, Confused. You are in a comfortable, safe, wondrous space. You're at the station, kiddo.
Radio
Station?
station?
Yeah, you could only have gotten here when you were tuned way past the end of the dial. When you pulled something deep from within yourself and put it up into the world, pushed on through. That space just beyond where you're thinking about something and when you're feeling something. So how'd it go? Did you change your heart?
I think so.
The hope, I guess. Yeah?
That's what this place is all about. It's where dreams are made manifest. It's like looking directly into the kaleidoscope of somebody's mind.
Are you trying to tell me that I dreamed and wished for a pocket full of fire? I guess I probably have literally said I wish I had a light on me before, huh? Yeah, you know what? I buy it.
Ain't that just the way of things? Well? Confused, you look like you had something to say.
Oh, no, just... I'm dressed more fashionably than I would assumed I would be.
It's a good look on you.
Sheepishly, yeah. And actually, my name is Jordan. I was being sarcastic. I can't help it. Sorry.
It's okay, dreamer. Anyway, I got places to be. I'll show you on out.
How do we get back here?
Oh, I try not to sweat that kind of stuff. You'll understand as soon as you're on the other side.
Okay.
And Vandy walks over to the door and kind of grabs onto the knob and opens it for all of you. And you can't, like, there's something on the other side of it. In one angle, it looks kind of like the like reception area to a radio station, but it's kind of faded and distorted, like there are raindrops hitting the surface of a sheet of water between where you are and the other side of the threshold. And I assume y'all kind of like walk through the open door at that point.
Yeah,
Unless there's something else you want to ask Vandy before you peace out.
Less of a question, more of a statement. I think just Jordan will like pause before he goes through the door, and it's weird that I understood what you meant, right? Like that shouldn't have made sense.
You tell me.
Exactly as helpful. All right, see you later, and walks through.
Joe, as the last person to score a hit against the vassal, where do we end up?
I think we end up in like the heart of the downtown. And it's probably pretty dusty and dark at first, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a moment before someone finds their bearings first and realizes where we are. I think we're in an abandoned part of like the streetcar system that has not been used in years. Like you wouldn't even know the city has a streetcar unless you go down the old roads and just see them in the middle. They have been long since discontinued.
There are a couple places where the rails have not yet been paved over, and there's all those signs. I don't know if any of you have driven in Portland, Oregon, but there are all these signs of like bicyclists going over their handlebars in this part of town, and that's tons of those anywhere you see the rails. But yeah, you're in this like in the way that old transit hubs had kind of a regalness to them. Y'all are in a great big terminal, and behind you is a door that says supply closet. It's covered in dust, covered in grime, kind of stale. And there's one of those like accordion gates on the far end, but somebody popped the lock off of the chain a long time ago. So it's more or less free pickings.
Dandy would probably say something clever about you could find everything you need in a supply closet, right?
Sounds about right.
We
What?
understand
Hold on, you
that.
still talk?
Yeah, the cat can still talk. And you still understand what they're saying.
Is that a you thing or an us thing?
Oh god, the cat is still talking.
I think it's a both thing.
I think there's only one way to find out, Jordan. I think you got to go up to the nearest animal and try and talk to it.
There are a couple of pigeons in here.
Points at one of them. You. I'll give you bread if you say something. All right, it's a
It
cat.
said something.
That was something.
Something. Will you give me bread?
I pull out some breadcrumbs from my back pocket and just sprinkle them on the ground.
The
Sushi just like
pigeons.
slaps them up.
The pigeons look interested but cautious.
Because there's a cat right here.
No risk, no reward, little feathered friends.
So, definitely not a dream.
I mean, you could still be dreaming.
Yeah, I don't tend to
We don't just walk
have
out
such
of a
interesting
closet.
smells in my dreams. Yeah, that too.
This is actually somewhere that y'all have tagged before, in fact. And the spots around the supply closet have like a little flourish from each of you. If you'd like to tell us and the audience what they are, feel free to do that, but you don't have to. It's there. Your art is present in this space with you.
I can definitely describe some of mine. I think it's the most visible pieces are these graffiti art marigolds. So it's like it's very clearly like the spray paint style where it's like the outline of the petal is made with orange and it's been filled in with yellow. And she's probably got almost like a teal vine or river that kind of like connects the ones that you can see, and like they've been painted over in places and all that, but that's kind of what you can see is like orange and yellow and teal and maybe a hint of pink, like these very vibrant and opaque colors. And she's like, oh yeah, I've been here before, I know where I am. Kind of grounds her in the moment almost.
Yeah.
I think Jordan has mostly done small like doodles in black and red with some white highlights, and they tend to be like really simple figures. They look more sketched than like painted on. Some of them are from. If you've ever been to Lake Powell, Defiance has a bunch of these like very specific like Native American paintings that he's done like a modern sort of thing, imitating the same poses, or like very simple like action jumping people running around. It tends to be like little stick figures, but with like just enough more detail to give them stuff. I'd like to give them character, but it's still very like simple. This is a new art style that he's not familiar with, so it's he's like, oh yeah, I don't remember things well. Was there always a closet here? Is the closet magic?
What you call that room?
A closet. It's where you store stuff you don't want to look at.
I think they just call that prison.
What?
Ooh.
That
Listen, I never
What?
said I didn't want to. I was just talking about society in general.
Harsh, but maybe not unfair. Anyways.
Yeah.
So what now?
That's a better question. Yeah.
We could go home.
I was gonna just shack
I
up
don't know
here.
about y'all,
No.
but I've had a hell of a day.
Yeah. fair.
It kind of washes over you all at once. Between the tag, the piece that y'all did that brought you into that like pop-up cardboard world, and the fight and the disorientation of ending up inside the station, y'all are bushed. Is there any last things y'all want to say to each other before we close this scene out?
Let's agree on like a code word if this isn't a dream. What's something relevant? Dragon. If we see each other
Candle.
tomorrow and say dragon, then this is not a dream. Is that good with everyone?
Got it. Dragon.
Okay.
Dragon.
Also, if anyone needs a place to crash, you can probably come back to my place. I've got a spare couch.
I have a question. If we see the cat
Hmm?
tomorrow and it says dragon, how do we be sure we're not still dreaming?
The cat
That's a good
has a
point.
name.
Yeah, their name is Sushi.
What a rude
I feel like if
human.
Sushi talks to me tomorrow, that's more proof it wasn't a dream.
Or maybe you're still dreaming.
Yeah, I've definitely fallen asleep in dreams. Although I think there's a
Y'all have
movie
weird
about that
dreams.
too.
I think that this conversation as we leave is maybe
Yeah.
what the scene ends. It's
Yeah.
like
The
you
camera
guys
kind
have
of
weird dreams. I
pans
never
up.
do that.
The camera kind of pans up into the rafters. There's a clock that hasn't moved in ages, covered in dust and pigeon crap. And where normally that would be a sign for the clock's hands to start moving, instead we kind of focus on that, and then we get a broad shot of the city as it is. There are a couple of establishing shots of industrial parks, hospitals that were once like beautiful new places, kind of worn down with age, and a bustling downtown area with like people coming and going to different companies, all with these neon lit signs up above for things like Fluber and Redvine, which is a tech company name, Blamazon, what have you. And that brings us to the opening of your new investigation. So it's time. We're going to find out who your next target is. So everybody has contacts on the kind of character map. If we could kindly get a zoom out on that map. I know we've been looking at Vandesky in the green room, but if you could just show kind of the whole map. Trust us when we say there are friends connected to every single one of these individuals. Let's start with who among your contacts is the vassal that you're going after next already hurting. That will put them on this relationship map in a meaningful way.
Can you refresh your memory on the next vassal, or is that something we have to discover?
We're going to kind of build them together. They are the things that I've potentially established about them is that they're probably around your age. They're not as powerful as the previous vassal, but you're more likely to interact with them on a day-to-day basis. They're a teenager with a YouTube following. And a Twitch following that is getting really, really big, really, really suddenly at your school.
Okay. I must admit that I haven't read this part of the book. Do we just
Just pick
decide?
any. So the
There's
contexts
only-
that you have available
There's
are
only two contexts in that age range, really. So it's got to be one of those two.
Although I do like the idea of one of the first interactions just being he went out in the city and did some kind of dumb prank video, bro.
That could also be it.
So
yeah.
I'm almost leaning a bit, as much as Danny was already threatened, the bar owner, of the bar getting pranked, because that seems like the kind of place a teenager would do a dumb video with. Is like, I got into the bar illegally, look at this, or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I'm into that. Yeah. So there's this video at Danny Kerr's bar of your next target doing something. What are they doing with this video? Are they controlling, demeaning, punishing, compromising, or exploiting Danny?
I think compromising, right?
Yeah, especially considering that that Jordan has played with the band in the bar and is definitely not of age to, like... Although that might just be Jordan being like, what are the rules here? I'm from a place where, like, a child can't be within 10 feet of a bar.
At least the rules in Seattle are you wouldn't be allowed to hang out in the bar beforehand, but you can go on stage with part of an act at a bar.
Okay.
I'm inclined to think maybe the prank was he snuck in and filmed himself like ordering and drinking a beer, but I'm like, it's probably been faked, or he had a fake ID, or there's something with it.
Yeah, I'm into that. So it's compromising the staff at the bar, specifically Danny, who on a really busy night did not realize that this was a fake.
So I don't know, maybe this kid started growing facial hair super young, so like he can pass really well as much older.
Yeah.
Not at all pulling from my own experience, I promise.
I feel like
Actually, 90.
I feel like Neela is seeing like a bunch of Discord about this universe's version of Twitter.
Yeah. I think right now the video in question is still kind of a rumor, but like he's tweeted about it, this YouTuber.
Yeah, there's discourse happening.
Oh no, the dreaded. That's the name of it. It's called Discourse.
Discourse.
It's called like Discourse.
Discourse, yes.
You know what's funny about that is that there is like a conversation platform called Discuss.
It is.
Okay.
Stop making me laugh.
So, whom among you is the first person investigating them?
I guess I would, since I usually am around there.
Yeah.
I'd say it's either Scott or whichever one of us is best at like getting in on the internet on Discourse.
Yeah. So, in the course of your investigations, here's the thing. You were around when the video got filmed, and after the fact, you saw this person, Quentin Allegra, like he was hanging out in the bar and messing around, and you saw him walk away, and over his shoulder at one point, you see that the ID that he showed Danny is just his like high school ID. And that's when you realize, oh, Quentin, this kid, was able to basically like mesmerize Danny. He never had an actual fake. It was him connecting with the castle to convince Danny that it was a legit ID. Okay. And where Where is Quentin's power base in the city? Where does he mostly operate?
This is just I would imagine it's probably wherever his streaming place is, because that's where he's getting all of his followers, and possibly his power. Maybe even at the high school. Like, I don't know, the high school. Is it a computer lab in the high school? Maybe.
Is he the president of the AV club? Maybe.
He could be.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's definitely in the AV club. I'm gonna say he's not the president. He lost the election to become president of the AV club, so he's vice, because it's old school American democracy rules, where vice president is just the runner-up. And he's been sour about that for a hot minute. Okay, so the computer lab is now a location that y'all have access to, and I will update our map with this information a little bit later. The next thing that I need y'all to do is we are each going to take a minute to roll the grind. So at the start of an investigation, we're each going to check against our worst gauge. The rebels in the city are all dealing with the kind of like problems that we deal with in everyday life. Be that parents, be that medical bills and illness, be that bullies at school, or, you know, just the hall monitor giving you a lot of extra attention that you don't need. So what I need each of you to do is roll against your worst gauge, tell me what it is, and then whether you get a hit, a miss, a strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss. Sound good, gang?
Can you clarify? Is this our city stat or a castle stat, or?
This is going to be against your highest city stat.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And highest being the most number of ticks and marks, right?
Yes, the most black marks and ticks.
I
got
rolled
a strong hit.
black and got a miss.
I got a
Okay.
strong hit on fealty.
We hit
Oh.
on black.
Okay, let's start. Let's start with Scott. So you rolled lack, Scott.
Yeah.
And you got what? A hit or a miss?
I got a weak hit.
A weak hit. So, on lack, we're gonna write down a crisis related to each of these stats. So lack is about not having like material possessions and stuff. What's a crisis that you're dealing with? An imminent crisis where you're lacking something that you need.
Oh, man.
And gang, feel free to help each other out with this. This could just be like, it's a new month, and so your bus pass does not have like a new monthly pass on it. Something like that could be an example of a crisis dealing with lack. This is gonna make it hard for you to get around the city.
Maybe your physical guitar is like needs a repair or something.
Oh yeah,
you
your
gotta replace
bridges.
strings all the time. Easily could have broke a string, replace some bridges, stuff like that.
Alright. I can work with that.
Okay, so you have your crisis is your guitar needs repair. Go ahead and write that down. And you got a weak hit, so the crisis is imminent. As long as a crisis is imminent, you have lasting disadvantage on all checks against the associated gauge. Sound good?
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't
Ooh.
sound good, but it makes sense.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Joe next.
I got a strong hit for infamy.
Okay, so infamy is like attention from authority figures. It could be like police. It could be like, you said you were cutting class a lot, so maybe it's like truancy officers are really like hounding you right now. On a strong hit, the crisis starts as quelled. All right.
Okay.
So
You're dodging those officers real good.
I think this just means that I actually go to a week of school.
Nice.
You just did some magic shit. You're like, I'm gonna lay low for a bit.
Yeah. Jordan, what was the stat that you rolled in?
I rolled a lack and missed.
Okay, a miss on lack means that your crisis is dire. So what that means is that if your the crisis is imminent, and if it is still imminent at the end of the investigation, you're going to mark another black mark in this gauge, which shifts all of your current tick marks up 1. So you need to deal with that problem.
Yeah, I think he like Jordan has a lot of like ephemera from previous hobbies and things that he's done. And so he has like absolutely no of his own personal pocket money, and he has 4 other siblings. His family cannot afford school lunches for all of them, and he normally just handles that himself with like his own playing instrument things or whatever he manages to do, and he doesn't have any of that anymore.
Okay.
He just has like all this hobbies and stuff that he's like, I'd really love to do any of these, and I can't. I don't have the money for anything. I don't know if that's like crisis-y enough.
That is crisis-y. So specifically, you're saying that you're having trouble making ends meet when it comes to food at home.
He's got to choose between eating and the various things that bring him joy in life.
Cool. That's a great crisis. Go ahead and write that down. Yeah. But 1 meal a day is still a lot. Neela, your turn.
Okay, I rolled infamy and I got a miss.
Infamy. Okay, so you have a dire crisis with infamy. What authorities are you having trouble with?
Is it dire or imminent? Sorry. If it's a miss, it's a 0.
It should be dire. I need to look up the exact rules on how this work. So mark that it is dire and imminent, and I will figure out how exactly that works in the UFO Press Discord.
No worries. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what infamy I'm struggling with. But definitely I think some sort of like trouble with the authorities or like, I don't know,
is it
social media scandal?
So I kind of imagine there are like a couple of sources of infamy that you could be dealing with. Your folks are one immediate like source of like they have authority over you and they want you to do something specific, and they know that you're getting up into trouble. There is like the school potentially is you've rattled some bars at school, and people are up in arms about that. Or because you all are graffiti artists, maybe your tags have been getting more attention than normal, and you're dealing with. Huh?
You also did like have a kid stay at your house that got kicked out.
I did, yeah.
Generally.
Yeah. There could be somebody threatening legal action because of that.
I'm gonna say that, like, I mean, obviously, the place that I live in, obviously my parents live there too, and I have sushi there, and it's just like, I don't know, my parents are just like, you're not focusing on school enough.
Cool. Yeah.
So they're just like, you're not focusing on school enough. You need to focus on school, or you're gonna get grounded, or something like that. You know, like there's tension there.
Yeah. So eagle-eyed parents trying to keep you grounded. Maybe you can write down your crisis as grounded.
Okay.
And then finally, Sushi. You said you rolled with fealty. And fealty is your connection to the powers of the void and the castle specifically. So there is some sort of supernatural castle-associated attention on you right now. And did you say you rolled a hit?
Strong hit.
Strong hit. Okay, so that it is a quelled crisis right now. But what kind of attention have you told?
Oh.
Sushi. A couple examples for fealty. You lashed out at somebody and you need to make it right. You can't enjoy a cherished activity. You're alienated from society, or you're having to pass as something that you're not.
I think. So, okay, so let's see. I think. So Sushi really enjoys their naps. I mean, cats basically sleep like 70% of the day away. But normally what Sushi does, because they're a supernatural cat, is they go into like sort of like the realms in between. Like so they'll hop into the green room, right, and from there they'll hop out into the various other realms connected. But they might have pissed off the gatekeeper when they ate their snack just a little bit. Look, Sushi was hungry and it was just out there, and it was fish. I mean, it was a really weird looking fish, but it was fish. So of course Sushi ate it. But so they can't hang out in their favorite nap spot anymore because they might have, well, I mean, okay, look, it was a fish and it had wings and it was very pretty and it was tasty. So,
Yeah, so you're barred from your favorite spaces in between. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I think this is going to be a good spot for us to. How are we doing for time? I think
we are almost at 3 hours.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and call this for tonight so that we can start our investigation afresh next time. Thank you to everybody who helped make this stream happen. I'm just so thrilled. I'm so thrilled to be bringing this to life with this amazing cast and all the people who helped behind the scenes to make this happen. Foxy for general support, bouncing ideas off of, helping me come up with the poetry intro. Thank you again, Michelle, for the awesome character sheets that we are using behind the scenes. Thanks to Heck in specific for the excellent graphic design and being willing to make adjustments on the fly for all of my really specific requests for this campaign. It's a lot, and I very, very much appreciate the work that you do. And of course, thank you to Spree, who is stream managing for us right now. I literally could not do this without you. So thanks to all of those folks and more. If I'm forgetting to mention you at this moment, just know that I truly in my heart thank you for helping us bring this to life. Let's start in the same order that we opened with Leona. Let us know who you are, where we can find you, and what we should look for you in next.
Hi, I'm Neela. You can find me at Mandela's Marigolds. No, I'm kidding. That's my character. Hello, my name is Leona. You can find me on Twitter at the Leona Meeple. That is still the best place to find me, follow me, and keep up with what on earth it is that I am doing. Pretty sure the next place that you're gonna find me is over on Happy Jack's RPG on Friday. I'm bringing back City of Mists, where I play Priya and Shanti, the vengeful spirit. So come join me and some fabulous friends for that good little time. And yeah, other than that, see you around on the internet.
All right, let's bring it over to Michelle.
I guess that's me then. Hi, I'm Michelle. I don't exist on the internet except maybe on Discord sometimes. So don't find me. I don't social media. Otherwise,
you can't find them there.
I mean, you could probably try tracking me down, but I'm not going to respond to anything unless it's like maybe Discord. So there's that. But if you do want to see me, you can find me right back here in 2 weeks on Tuesday for our first A Blade's Will of the year. Which after that doozy of a last finale, it's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be rough, but slots are still open. Actually, this is my call out to players. Be like, hey, if you wanna join in, it's a rotating one-shot campaign. So ping me on through our like NLR org Discord. There we go. I can words. I can English. I've been a cat too long today.
The urge to
Hey, let's send it over to Tate.
Oh, hey. Hello, Internet. My name is Tate Washburn. You can find me at Tate the Terrific on Twitter, which I will be on until it burns to the ground. I will also technically on Itch. I'm sure I'll open up some other platforms. One of these days, I'm going to get convinced to do YouTube stuff, but not today. You can find me on here in 2 weeks when we do this. And maybe if everyone asks me extremely nicely, I might be planning on doing a little sequel campaign to be on Lights in Night City, the very first game that we ever did. I'm just saying that's maybe a thing. Maybe a thing that we'll get to get Dan and Michelle on to do. But until that time, this is where you will find me. And I thank you guys for showing up, and you're all great. And I'm going to try not to die.
Right, as Tate takes a muted recovery, let's go over to Milan.
Hello, I'm Milan, also known as Mallard Man on the internet. That's where you can find me on Twitter, speaking of burning down. I have been playing the incorrigible asshole Jovan or Joe. I don't always play assholes, but this one definitely is. You can find me over on Twitter at MallardMan_, at Twitch as just MallardMan, and speaking of Twitch, this Saturday it is the return of the greatest esports team in gaming, the Dub Club, featuring myself, Husha Kid, and It's the Riddler on the internet. We never lose a single game. It is 100% win rate. We're finally back. It feels like it's been forever, but our streaming is returning, and we haven't confirmed what game we're playing yet. But we are playing something, and we will win it.
Going to win.
Exactly.
I'm so excited about that. I've never seen it before, but I want to be there. Finally, last but not least, we have Land the Dam.
Sure about that.
Oh, I'm positive. Last
Hello.
and the most.
Just because I'm tall doesn't mean you got it. Hi, I'm Land the Den. Twitter hasn't died yet, so you can find me there still at Land the Den. Next thing I'm in on Twitch will probably be this next month, and if it's not that, then it's going to be in By His Shadowed Peace, a Wrath and Glory campaign run by who else but the big young Foxy, starting next month on Twitch. I'm going to play a Pew Pew Man. And probably piss off all my coworkers.
All right,
Because
and
that's what happens when you exist in the Warhammer universe and in Space Marine, who does worship the Emperor. You kind of just piss them off with your existence.
hell yeah.
But yeah, that's been
with-
a lot.
With all of that, I am the Legendary Vermin. You can find me as Legendary Vermin on all the places on the internet that matter, which is, of course, Itch, Twitch, Tumblr, YouTube, and increasingly and frequently Twitter, until it burns all the way to the ground and cinches our feet as we go. I design games. I do much more of the role-playing stuff. I believe the next time you will see me do this stuff live is this Thursday for Last Transmission, where I play a sexy eye-patched captain who is really trying to make sure that her crew does not die. I think with that, there's only one thing left to do, which is, of course, redeem a reward to make the cast even foxier.
Technically, I think you can only do that for one person.
Dead.
I think I've done it for the whole cast. Saying goodnight for everybody here on Neon Lights Roleplay. Have a wonderful time. Look out for your friends and your family, and of course, fight back. We'll see you next time.
It's
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Ah.
Bye.